right. Welcome, everybody. This session for the Coach Professional Development is featuring AndyMark, and we are very excited to have Andy Baker, who is one of the founders of AndyMark. So, Andy, whenever you are ready, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Rebecca. And thank you all for coming to this presentation. I'm going to give a presentation through a PowerPoint. I'm going to run through some things, and then I'm going to take you to our website. And then at the end, I'll stop the presentation. I'll go back live how we are now, and I'll answer questions if you have any. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen now, and then we're going to go to this presentation over, if I can figure out how to do that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I assume you guys can all see that. Hope so. So I view, present.
It looks good. Yep.
All right, cool. I'll just go ahead. So this is really just an overview to AndyMark, what we're about, some history, and then some products and such. So if you've been a long time user of AndyMark, this might be kind of boring, but if you're new to being a coach of an FTC team and you're new to FIRST and you're new to learning about AndyMark, this is really for you. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I am a husband and a father. I have a wife and 3 girls who support me to help run a business. And without their support, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I've been a FIRST mentor since 1998. I kind of lose track of the years. I think this will be my 24th year coming up as a mentor. And I've been a mentor, FRC, FTC, FLL, all levels. I especially like the high school level. For you folks who coach middle school, elementary school kids, man, I have a lot of respect for you. I lose patience, but I really enjoy the high school level kids that I work with. I was honored to win the 2003 Championship Woody Flowers Award winner at the Houston Champs a long time ago. That was a very nice thing. And co-founder and president of AndyMark. And that's some contact information for me at the bottom. So what do we do? What is AndyMark? And really, it's more so, who is AndyMark? Mark Coors and I founded the company back in 2004, and we saw a need for FIRST teams to buy parts off the shelf. They didn't have to remake all the time. So it was really hard to find some of the parts you needed to make your robots. Mark ended up retiring in 2016, and sadly, he passed away about this time last year. He had ALS, and we're sad that we miss Mark Coors in the FIRST community. Throughout the time that we've been FIRST, we've been mentors, and also we were key volunteers. Mark was helped run a lot of fields, and I was referee, inspector, that kind of stuff. We help run events, and there's a fly around me. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's why it's AndyMark, Mark Coors, Andy Baker. We have a nice big staff. That was a picture that was taken just recently. And largely the staff is made up of, largely it's made up of FIRSTers, not only people who are helping out with FIRST events, but FIRST alumni, FIRST mentors. We've got a lot of experience in FIRST. So we're here to really help the teams. There's a lot of young, like 20-something, 30-something employees that we have. We have a handful of them that they claim that they're what they call half-lifers, which means if they're 28, for example, and they've been doing FIRST for more than 14 years, they've been doing FIRST for more than half their life, and they're kind of proud of that. So I'm proud of them. I'm not quite there yet, but yeah. So we have a nice big staff. This is our mission statement. So our goal is to really help the customers and inspire them and making a positive impact in our community. And we actually repeat that at weekly meetings all the time. So we try to give our mission really understood by our staff. So we make parts, we make stuff, we make hardware for robotics teams. And we really started with mechanical parts. We don't do as many electrical parts as we do mechanical. There's that fly again. And about 75% of our business is selling parts to first teams. Many of the parts are designed by us, but then again, about half the parts that we sell are distributed that are made by somebody else. And maybe it's a battery, or it's a Arduino board, or it's a wheel or something like that that we sell from another company. Since we started so early in the market back in 2004, we were one of the first places that people could buy something in our market. And so if a small business came along and needed our e-commerce sales ability, they would just sell through us and we would fulfill orders for them. So that's worked out pretty well. We outsource about 10% of our things that we buy to overseas, meaning that 90% is done mostly in the Midwest. Indiana is where we're based, and then we source things from the Midwest, and 10% of our stuff is sourced either China, Taiwan, those types of things. As I mentioned, we're in Kokomo, Indiana, the lovely Kokomo, Indiana, where it's nice outside today. And we do have manufacturing done, some manufacturing done in-house. If it's not done in-house, we have a nice thing about North Central Indiana is we have a lot of automotive manufacturing ability here. So therefore, there's a lot of folks with small machine shops or mold shops and such, welding and whatever. So we can get a lot of things made locally pretty quickly. All of our order fulfillment is done from Kokomo. So that means if you're in Iowa and you want to order ground from Kokomo, usually that's 2 days. If you want overnight, we can do overnight. But usually if you get an order in most days, a typical order, if you get it in by noon or around 2 o'clock at the latest, we'll probably get it out that same day, unless it's kickoff or something like that and we're overwhelmed. But usually we can get an order out approximately the same day, and you're going to get 2-day delivery from Kokomo to Iowa. We got a lot of history with providing parts to FTC. We do a lot for FRC, but with FTC, we started distributing the game pieces back in 2012. First came to us because we were good at distributing to the teams, and we started that in 2012. We started in 2014 to make the competition game field for Cascade Effect, and that has continued on until this coming game, where right now, this week, we're packing boxes for partial and full field game sets for Freight Frenzy. I think I didn't spell that right. Oops. Yeah, just don't pay attention to that. So yeah, what we do is we're packing and shipping things out soon for the upcoming FTC game. We also sell soft tiles. We sell a field perimeter. And we used to sell like Samantha modules and unique things for first teams that are kind of hard to come by. And we always are looking for things that teams want to maybe have a hard time getting and teams need. So we're able to sell a lot of different things, a lot of variety of things that helps out teams. We sell a lot of motors. We have what we call the Never Rest motor, and that's a 550 series motor, DC 12-volt motor. That's a legal motor in FTC. And we have different ratios on the gearbox. Like this is the gearbox here. This is the motor here. And we have, I think, 3 different sizes of gearboxes right now. And we're coming out with some more new sizes of gearboxes soon. So we have different ratios that are coming out that will be available fairly soon. Other products that we have, this is just a small sample, really. We've got thousands of products, but on the top left, that's a standard, very robust drive base that's called the Tile Runner. It's a 6-wheel drive base. It also can be a Mecanum drive base. using these types of wheels here, these rollered wheels. We have what we call nubs. It's a hub that translates torque from a D-shaped shaft to this hub that can drive these wheels or other wheels. We have different types of compliant wheels. We have different types of structure systems. We have, I showed you a motor earlier. So yeah, we have a lot of different types of hardware, even cables and sensors. We have like IMU sensors and gyros, accelerometers, potentiometers, limit switches, different types of cables. So all different types of things. I think people in FTC see us as the game set provider and the perimeter provider, but also we have a lot of robot parts too. So yeah, one thing I want to show you is really how to use the website. So we're going to go over to AndyMark.com, and here's our website. So we got the front page here. We've got some products that are highlighted. We make custom link cables. We've got your first Frenzy field for the upcoming FTC game coming up, with kickoff being the 18th of September. So you can click on that and you can look at all the different options with getting a field. So this doesn't include the game perimeter or the FTC perimeter. It does not include the soft tiles, but it does include parts that are going to help you play the game. We can't show you what those parts are because obviously the game isn't released until the 18th of September. There's going to be, you can get a full field, you can get essentially a partial or approximately a half field of the red side or the blue side. And then there's also remote red or remote blue. And you'll learn about what the differences of those are during kickoff. Also, you can go down here and you can say, you can get one with scoring elements included or scoring elements not included. First has already told the FTC community that there's some scoring elements that they're going to reuse. So if you are a veteran and you have all your old scoring elements, you might want to save some money and get a field with scoring elements not included. So you would pick, let's say you pick partial red and you pick scoring elements not included. So then you place you add to your cart. You go over to your cart just like you always do, with even like you're buying from LL Bean or Amazon or whatever. In this case, we want you to log in, and so we can see who you are. You can create your profile on here, and you can record your shipping address, your billing address, your payment method, and all those things you don't have to re-enter every time you come to AndyMark. So just like many websites. And you can order here through a credit card. That's easy, but you can also make it really easy and order with a purchase order from your school. We do take purchase orders from your schools, and we do take, we even have some schools that have blanket purchase orders that we keep on file, and you just need to reference that purchase order when you check out. So instead of putting a credit card in, you would put your purchase order number in. To get into some of the details of how to order, we do have a page that describes that. Let's scoot that over. Okay. So purchasing, you can go down here to customer service, look at purchasing, and this tells you about taxes. Unfortunately, we're starting to collect taxes from some states, not Iowa yet though, but thanks to recent court cases, we're going to we're having to collect taxes for some sales, except if you're exempt from taxes, then obviously we'll keep those records on file. Iowa isn't included yet, but it might come soon. We have open purchase orders, like I mentioned. You can get a quote or an estimate, and you can place an order with a purchase order. There's a lot of details here, obviously, that will help you out. Probably help your business office or your accounts payable office out when they go to order the things that you need for your team. Let's see what else. So if I go back to the home page up here, if I just click on, if I hover over first, I can see all the things that are really focused on First Tech Challenge. I look at the field perimeter. I get to look at that. I get to see the FTC field perimeter here, or maybe a back. There's different things that we have. And then there's for Freight Frenzy pre-orders, like I mentioned before, and then there's individual field components, and then robot type stuff. We even have like old FTC game pieces from different years. This is well, this is from this past year, but we have some other things that might be older game pieces. Maybe, yeah, even components from last year's game set that are on here. We usually try to do our best to sell the individual parts of the game sets on your field. So if there's you want an extra bracket or an extra, in this case for last year's ultimate goal, if you want a couple extra rings, or if you want an extra wobble goal or whatever, and you can just buy those individually. We always try to do that the best we can. Let's see other things with regard to AndyMark. There's a gift card. You can buy a gift card. Your login is here. One thing that people like to look at our new products. So we have a lot of new products. Like one of the things we have new is we provide Waterjet service. So you can buy water jetting service through us. You can get online quotes really quickly. You can buy simple things as zip ties, whatever. We're mainly a hardware provider. There's a lot of things to poke at, to look at. We can get kind of lost in here, but the way we categorize things, this is FTC's area here, but also, shoot, I don't want to do that. Also, we do that. You can look at mechanical parts, and you can see bearings to belts to gears, and it just, these drop downs help you out. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go back to, where was I? Okay, back to here. And if you have more questions, we can answer. I can answer some questions after I'm done here. So how to get help? We actually take pride at AndyMark in the fact that we answer the phone. We're not a company that just sends your phone call to voicemail or to an automated system. We have people that answer the phone. A lot of our staff are mentors on teams. So we actually have a lot of teams that have like a mentor and a student that call in, and the mentor is in kind of mentor mode, and they're having the student call, and they're trying to describe that some problem with the shipment, or they're asking a question of how something works or whatever. So we work with the students a lot on phone calls to go through issues, and we can help that way. We can also accept emails, and if you have a question, I think the best email to send to us would be customerservice@andymark.com. One of the last things I want to say is we don't sell things that we don't have. What that means is if we're out of stock with something, let's say we're out of stock with a Neverest motor, and you want to get one of our Neverest motors. If we're out of stock with that, we're often not sure when it's coming back in stock. So we don't want to sell it to you until it is actually in stock. So with that part, we only sell them if we have them in the warehouse. So we don't want to back order things. Now there are some exceptions here. We are selling things now that we can't ship, like with regard to the Freight Frenzy field. We also sell the FTC perimeter that sometimes we don't. It might take us a few weeks to get that part out, but 99.9% of the parts that we have, we don't sell if we don't have them in stock. Okay, so I ran through those things pretty quickly. We can just talk. I can share experiences or ideas, or we can just visit. So you guys have any questions?
Yeah, there were some questions in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, for kickoff game materials that were pre-ordered, will those ship the week of kickoff event?
Yeah, I think we have a date. Gosh, I don't know what exactly the date is, but if you got your order in by a certain date, then we will be shipping those out right around kickoff. We're like right now we have about 25% of all the all the orders that we expect to get. We have about 25% of those all packed and ready to go, and we expect to get maybe 2 to 3 times that much by kickoff. So we should be really set really well to deliver parts right after kickoff. The thing about it is it might not be that next day because there's a lot of FTC teams, thank heavens, that's a good thing. So it might take a few days to get your order out. And if you have a deadline you have to meet, just call us up or send us an email.
And if I recall too, if you say something in the comments, that's the best way to tell them, hey, you know what, we can wait a week or something like that. So yeah. I would certainly say probably within the week of kickoff, things will be shipped out. Christopher asked, can you tell us what the parts are? And Christopher, if you want to unmute yourself in regards to more clarification maybe on your question.
I was just joking about asking Andy if he could tell us about this year's game part.
Oh, game elements. I gotcha. So
well, the hose hookup is important this year.
Well, Manny's on game design. I think this you guys are going to be really surprised at the weight. Well, you're going to have to change your playing field. Well, Christopher, does your school have a pool?
I was going to ask if you guys had some new waterproof parts.
I mean, there's actually a market out there that does underwater robotics. But
that's
yeah. There's two actually.
There's two, yes.
Yeah, mate and sea perch.
Awesome.
Well, yeah. So no, Christopher, I can't tell you, but soon enough, within a month, right? Well, almost a month away, we'll be seeing a new game.
I did enter a comment that customer service at AndyMark is outstanding. So kudos to your staff, Andy. Please extend that.
And also just a note to if you write something nice about them in their comments, they will personally do art on your boxes when you send them to you.
In the comment section, we like jokes. We like odd requests like draw a dinosaur on my box or something like that. So we see your comments, and we like I've packed orders, and if there's an order from Manny, I'll say, hi Manny, how you doing? I don't always pack. I mean, I rarely pack boxes, but like during back a little bit of a story. Last year, in April during COVID, I was our receiving department and I was our shipping department for about 3 or 4 weeks because COVID.
Oh yeah.
I would send notes to people who I knew they were still ordering from us, and it was kind of fun. It was lonely, but it was okay.
You've recently announced several new items. I think they are FRC mostly. However, can they be used for FTC? Your new products.
Let me go into. Let me try to get to the web page. So, whenever someone mentions a new product, it really the best thing to do is just go into new products here, and I'll get this over here, and I'll filter by newest, and I go in and I look. So first of all, whenever that question is asked, my answer always has to be, you got to read the rules. The rules change every year slightly. Mostly the mechanical parts in general are legal. Like, you can use these 8-inch wheels on an FTC robot. You probably don't want to, but you can. But like spacers, obviously these are new light fixtures for classrooms. They're not for robots, but whenever it has electrical current going through it, that gets more restrictive with regard to FTC rules. So if it's an electrical product, that you have to assume that's more restrictive. Mechanical parts in general are not as restrictive. But so yeah, so this switch here, you'd have to make sure it's legal by reading the rules, but a grommet and a thumb screw, those are really simple things. We have this drive base here, this silly thing. This navigator robot is really for classroom or hobby work. It uses motors that are not FTC legal, and it uses a control system that's not FTC legal. But this is really for someone to mock up a small robot, maybe a telepresence robot or something like that. Connectors, these are actually aimed at FTC. So yeah, essentially read the rules. In general, mechanical parts are, in general, electrical parts probably are not legal unless specifically described by the rules.
Awesome. What is the turnaround time for Waterjet services? Not to get the quote, but the actual production. Would the turnaround time be included in the quote?
It really depends on the time of the year, but I would say within 2 weeks, pretty good. The guy that runs the machine, he's wanting more work, so he's kind of bored. He has it in his house, and he's a great guy, and he works with us very closely. And so if we get a quote, if we provide you a quote and you accept it and you go with an order, probably within maybe within a week or 2 weeks. I'd be surprised if it's longer than that. If you go into the website and look, it can give you, I think there's a way to do some expedited shipping to get things even faster than that.
Do you guys do powder coating too?
We don't. We do for our own products. If there's a large order, that would be worthwhile, but onesie twosie, for now, we don't.
Okay, cool. Is there a discount for registered FTC teams?
No, unfortunately. I know that some other vendors in our market do that, but remember back to my presentation, 75% of our sales are to first teams, FTC, FRC teams. And so our items are priced for those teams already. We will provide discounts if you want to buy a lot of something. For instance, if you want to buy a lot of these Omni wheels and if you come to us and you say, I can buy one for $14, but I want to buy 20. Ask us for a quote for 20. I'll give you a discount for if you want to buy 20 of them, or bearings or screws, things that you might want to buy a lot of. I'm going to give you a quantity discount.
Like I like to typically buy large quantities of items, don't I?
Yeah. Well, the things you buy a lot of are mostly the field sets, the FTC field sets, and we're really thin on a margin on that. So we don't provide any kind of a discount. But like if you were to buy 10 FTC perimeters, we'll definitely provide you some sort of a discount with that, or whole bunch of soft tiles, whatever, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Another question. This is a very broad question, but what advice would you give to first-time mentors just getting started in FTC?
Okay. Keep it simple. Don't try to overextend yourself with a very complex design. I'd say don't get too overwhelmed with all the opportunities that a team has to do the first year. I would keep your team's focus simple. Don't worry about all of the different. Maybe not go for all the different judged awards. Keep your team simple. Keep your robot design simple. Don't be too ambitious with things. Set your goals, as opposed to becoming championship rookie of the year or the best rookie ever. Make your goal. Say, hey, let's make a goal of attending the state championships or scoring points in our first match where we're actually making a score go higher than 0. Those types of simple goals. Set your goals realistically. Keep things simple.
Very excellent advice. Thank you. Thank you. Christopher wants to know, what is powder coating?
Oh, okay. Powder coating. Powder coating is a painting process. It's actually not painting, but it's a coating process, kind of like I think many bicycles, like the paint on your bicycle frame, that would be powder coated. And I think you negatively charge the metal, and it attracts the powder onto the metal, and then you bake it, and it becomes a nice shiny paint on your piece of metal. The items that we have powder coated would be the field perimeter. If you look at this section of field perimeter, this is a clear polycarbonate piece in the middle, and these two black pieces are what we call wrinkle powder coat. So it's not actually paint, it's powder coated.
Very cool. Awesome. Andy, and I apologize if you've already gone through this, but what would you recommend for rookie teams to buy as they prepare for this season?
Oh gosh. Okay. So rookie team, I think you should buy
With a limited budget. Let's start.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I think you should buy would be probably look at the Freight Frenzy order, and I would buy a hang on. Let me get that. So I would go into the pre-order of the Freight Frenzy field, and I would buy not a full set. You don't need a full set. Not all teams need full sets, especially the rookies. I would get a partial red or a partial blue. So you're in for and you need scoring elements. So that's $260. So you need a partial field set with game elements. I also think that it might be wise, if you have, this isn't a must, if you have a budget and you can handle the cost, this is something you can use every year, would be a field perimeter. Okay, so the field perimeter is here. That has the perimeter of the field. It doesn't include the soft tiles, but a perimeter is something that it's not a must, but it is helpful to have that. And maybe you don't buy it your first year, maybe you get it your second year or something like that. But having this perimeter does help keep your robot in the field as you're practicing and such. Another thing that you probably should get a hold of from somebody, it doesn't have to be us, but you do need to drive around on the surface that's the legal surface that you're going to compete with. And that would be get a few soft tiles. I would say at least 8 soft tiles to drive around on. Each one of these is about 1.5 feet wide. So if you have 8 of them, you have enough room where you can drive around. Then you start looking at motors. And
actually, Andy, can I interrupt really quick about the soft tiles? There was a discussion on the Facebook group FTC Share and Learn. There was somebody who posted a question about, can we go and get tiles at another vendor such as Walmart or Arbor Freight or whatever like that? And I responded and I said, honestly, you want to be able to mimic the competition floor as close to possible. That teams need to purchase soft tiles through AndyMark or somebody else that sells these tiles, because of the fact the friction of the robot can vary if you do not work on the regulation tiles.
Yeah.
Also the thickness. Is
Yeah.
5/8 inch.
So the thickness, but also the texture on the tiles too, that can change. Even though we use the smooth side up, some soft tiles like tiles have 2 sides that are rigid, and that would not work with robots.
Yeah.
So
with the soft tile, there's this is the smooth side. The other side is a ribbed rigid side. And
Yep.
we don't use that. We use the smooth side. And I think Manny said the thickness is important, because if your robot is a very heavy FTC robot, maybe 40 or 50 pound
Yep.
FTC robot, then the wheels will dig in to they'll deflect the soft tile more if it's a thicker soft tile. And you want to mimic, like Rebecca said, you want to mimic what's at the competition.
Mhm.
I guess,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think if you start looking at other things that you should buy as a rookie, I would really recommend Neverest motors, different types of Neverest motors. That they're very popular. They're very robust. And there's gearboxes that go with them. I wouldn't get too crazy with the gearboxes yet, but these Neverest motors are good to have. And then also, it seems like almost every year there's different types of games that need wheels. And there's a lot of vendors with a lot of wheels out there, but it seems like every year there's teams that need compliant wheels. These are flexible wheels, or like these star intakes. We have a new thing called a sushi roller. That's a 1-inch diameter roller. Different types of wheels, and the different colors mean you have different durometers, which is different softness levels. And if you have a couple of these, you can do some testing. I think last year on my FTC team, we did some different compliance and compression testing when we were shooting the rings from our robot. And we had 3 girls on the team, and they were very surprised in how the different durometers shot the rings differently at different compression. It was pretty cool to learn those things. There's a lot of things, but I think the things that teams mostly buy from us would be the not only the field elements, but the Neverest motors, and then compliant wheels and these intake wheels. There's lots of other things I can get into, but those are the main things, really.
Right. And I mean, if you're looking for just a plain old kit bot, the tile runner is a very good starting point.
Yeah, the tile runner itself, where is it? Robot building kits.
Down below. Yeah, there they are.
Right here, there's different types of tile runners, and then there's starter kits with, like, well, okay. Rookie teams also they give this question to us a lot. So we come up with all these different kits that some of them cost a lot of money, some of them cost less money. But if you want a one-stop shop and you want to just pick one of these kits, we actually have them discounted a little bit more compared to if you buy all the parts individually. So if you pick one of these large kits, it might help you out.
I like the fact that you guys also sell alliance markers.
Yeah, those are kind of nifty. We have that was one of our employees' ideas. That was John Kentfield. So he runs our machine shop, and he goes through a lot of scrap of sheet polycarbonate or sheet Euroboard or sheet PVC foam. He's like, well, I have these small squares of scrap I could make alliance markers out of them. So that's what he started doing, and we offer this to the teams, and the teams use them, and they're happy. So yeah, these tell you which alliance you're on, and some years it's more important than others. But yeah, this is a nifty little gadget.
And those are required for this year for traditional matches.
Right. More questions? What do you guys have?
Is there a wire connector toolkit that you would recommend? With several vendors, there is often wires that need to be connecting that are not stock compatible.
Yeah, we have a couple. We have some good tools, and we have some PWM cables and those types of things. So if I go over to electrical, first of all, if I go over to like assembled cables, I can see cables. There's a lot of these that are for FRC, but there's still some for FTC, even an Ethernet power extension. These are all pre-assembled cables. That's not really the person's question, but we do have pre-assembled cables here. And then you can go into looking at connectors and wire. Those are 2 different categories. And I think there's connector kits. Like you can buy a power pole, and Anderson Power Products starter kit that gives you the reds and the blacks and the contacts, and it gives you a nifty crimper. But then also you can buy just a less amount of those. So there are different levels of Anderson Power Poles. this is a more generic connector kit, more focused on FRC. We have different crimps and different connectors, even Wago lever connectors that are really simple to use, gender changers for PWMs. So yeah, lots of different types of things. This is something that we liked from Rev, so we're selling it too. This is a Rev power distribution system. Yeah,
Still
lots
sell
of
the Beak.
still sell the battery Beak somewhere. It's probably not on this page.
It's probably in electrical.
Yeah. But even stuff like these solder tubes, you put two wires together and you heat up the middle, and that's a strip of solder, and it connects the two wires and puts a solder on
Oh,
it.
how
kinda how-
fun. I just want to play with one of those.
That's a new thing. Like probably 3 or 4 years ago, we started doing that. So the different gauges of those things. So yeah, lots of different connectors. Also different tools. We have some. Let me see if I can find. So there's different types of electrical tools. Obviously, we've got mechanical tools, but actually we started selling Bondhus. Just so you guys know, I love Bondhus Allen wrenches, and so these drivers are just great. Here's a retaining ring plier. That's not what you're asking about. Cable tie gun. Down here, there's a bunch of different crimpers. There's a chain brake. Oh, this one here is cool. This is a Ferrule Crimper. So it crimps all 4 of these little tools here together. So it crimps a ferrule onto the wire. So when instead of shoving a frayed wire into a contact hole, you're putting a ferrule on the end of the wire, and it's one big piece instead of all these frayed wires. That's
Nice.
So that helps.
We got a few more questions. What
Okay,
level
go
of
ahead.
Anderson power poles are used for FTC? What level?
I think 15 amp. So 15 amp for FTC, 45 amp for FRC. And they look really similarly. They look almost the same. You kind of get close and look at them closely in order to tell. But I think 15 amp is for FRC or FTC.
And
But
that
obviously, but hang on, you can use the 45 amp for FTC. They're just a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger. They're not going to hurt anything, just because less current is going through the connector.
Gotcha. So a 2-part question. A, what is a battery beak? And B, battery beaks are a must for teams, saves valuable time. So
Okay,
if you can show us what it is.
Okay, so I could go find this a couple different ways. I could go up here and I can type in battery beak. I'm going to do this a couple different ways. I use our search all the time. I'm just going to type it in. I'm going to find battery beak. So there it is. We'll come back to that. But another way that you can go in here and you can look at battery stuff, so power, batteries and chargers. It's probably underneath that topic. So there's different batteries. There's the battery beak. So it's kind of confusing for FTC teams sometimes, because some of this stuff is not for you. Like this battery analyzer is, you can probably use it for an FTC battery, but this battery is definitely not for an FTC team. This charger is definitely not for an FTC team. But it doesn't, we don't come out and say, this is definitely for FTC or definitely for FRC. So you kind of have to figure that out for yourself. So a battery beak, it is an analyzer for the battery voltage and also the battery condition. And it gives you a reading of resistance, state of charge, and the health of the battery. So it gives you a lot of different information here. And there's a user manual down here. But really what you guys want with regard to FTC is you want a battery beak for FTC use. And the reason why that's the case is because it has this fancy schmancy connector here that gives you different connectors to hook up to different types of batteries. You might have a battery with an Anderson power pole connector, or you might have a battery with a JST, the yellow connector. So that's why this thing is needed. That's why that price is slightly higher than just the battery beak itself. So those really are aimed to hook up to your battery, not your motor or anything like that.
Okay, so a great comment. I was watching the demo videos on the solder tubes yesterday. Very interesting. So kudos on those. Can you buy just the FTC attachment if they already have the main part? And Robin, I'm assuming you were referencing to the battery beaks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should be able to provide that, right? Well, first of all, one thing we should have, Tamiya power pole adapter, 2078.
78.
I should, this is somewhat a little bit embarrassing, but really we should have that as a hyperlink to the product. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it up here, put it up there in the search. I'm going to type it in and it doesn't. So no, we don't. Why not? 2078. I will ask my staff, why don't we sell that individually? Because we usually do that. So, okay. Thank you. So let me make a note to myself.
I think that's all the questions so far, but yeah.
So I just, that's my way of, I won't forget. I'm getting old and I don't forget. So that's my way of, hopefully there's no emails on there that or damning and you guys just took a screenshot of all my emails, but that's okay.
like I always say, Andy, memory's the second thing to go.
Well, what is the first?
I forget.
Somebody said you do sell it, so yeah.
Okay, so maybe they're just better at searching than I am. Okay.
Margaret said SB50 to PP45 XT30 and XT60 adapter cable.
Okay. Well,
I hope that makes sense to you.
Well, I typed in A and I should have typed in
There
B.
it is right there.
So that's okay. That's another problem. So
$13.
we do have it, but that other product page was referencing the wrong part. We didn't update. That's one of the hard things about having a web-based e-commerce company is you don't always catch where your products are referenced. So that was referenced on the Battery Beak page. So we just went from A to B and A is gone and B is right here. So there it is. Okay. Thank you, Margaret.
I'm glad we could help you. Yay.
Hello.
Any other questions? We are all out of time, I think, Mr. Andy. Yay.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.